There's a dynamic between these gentlemen. Carl's energy runs so high it nearly jumps out of his skin at any given moment, and Will's placid, yet free-range, easygoing manner belies a knack for attention to detail. While Nick manages to keep an intense focus on both business and breaking drumsticks simultaneously. And these gentlemen play well together, because they play well off each other. Carl's passive, free-for-all emotional state smooth over the rough edges of Nick's willpower and Will's genial, gentlemanly obscenity. Not perfectly by any means, but once they're in the groove, they're all business. The sense of comedy they have together speaks to a great humor in unison rather than just individually, a constant counterplay of verbal joust mixed with the audio-impressionable creation and good-natured barbs. The staccato branch of roundabout drum easily swings across a bridge of keyboards and transported guitar work, while these gentlemen explain exactly what questionable activities each other's mothers were up to. A class act. Will practices slowly, but not gently. A simple enthusiasm pulses through noisy chords and shifts. Carl oohs repeatedly, but he focuses in an instant. Nick is, as expected, a steady rock. Pure focus through and through. Will's eyes go distant every time he reminds himself of lyrics, but he comes back quick. Carl's eyebrows shift like epileptic caterpillars. Nick adjusts everything to the point of absurd personal synchronicity. Nick's expressions rarely modulate until his arms reach an apex. Then his love for drums is briefly expressed in the downward swing. Will uses his legs in the most hilarious Ian Curtis and micro movements burlesque. And Carl's expressions often run an absurd gamut. It's a weird disparity between Carl and Nick. They represent a strong duality in the band and one of their more interesting high points. Nick expresses himself in easy flowing movements, whereas Carl's jump up and down. Like a manic depressive paired with an insensate counselor, they're giving each other room to work within their fields and respective noise complements. Not to ignore Will, for he fits into this trifecta in his own way. Like a significant grounding, he acts as some sort of auditory arbiter for the other two. Were it just Nick and Carl, it'd be groundless pop drums, but Will's guitar work blisters in a whole new psychedelic feel. Sometimes Nick drumming seems almost lackadaisical, but the energy is always there, if never expressed. Sometimes Will just sounds like one of Link Wray's backups, but he's always on the move, never surrendering to the blandness. Carl constantly displays an obvious and impressive mastery of everything on his keyboard, down to the minutest movements. Sometimes it's hard to take an accurate impression of all three of them at once. They each have such a strong musical footprint of their own. A vocal mishap and a drum hits just a bit louder, it's almost to the point of subconscious, it seems. They don't blink, they just compensate. Like an engineering crew in a submarine, they refuse to let it sink even if they have to patch it up with the rawest materials available. The Greening are a perplexing noise. There's substantial imagination in the lyrics, but not a crowded overload that is distracting and overburdened with impotent imagery. However, something that manages to keep in finesse and away the vice of pretentiousness. They're good and catchy and talented. They know each other. They're not just some guys from high school thrown in together who are almost afraid of each other's talent. They're willing to aggressively pursue any sort of song they can build with each other. Make a mistake, make the mistake into a song all on its own. It's not so much progressive as experimental. Some bands are redeeming in their lack of redeeming talent, which is the same entertainment you get from trashy television and bloody non-movies. They've got a good sound, not the best or truly perfect by any measure, but there's no screaming into the ether or fear with these guys. It's power pop about women, not torrid love affairs with no passion. It's music escaping from the pointless, mindless drivel that's captured too much of what we hear on the radio and in clubs these days that makes you want to detonate blood from every available orifice. There's no implausible lyric chains trying too hard to impress or overt audio predatory overproduction. It's good music. Warped beyond imagination by a perplexing combination of vocal pejoratives and innovative restoratives, a noise transcending noise punk and a sound surpassing senses, a sweet power pop lineup of tunes and a low-down rundown of gritty psychedelics, racking ears in line and knocking all the ducks off their row by hook and by bridge, playing lyrics and implausible word combinations like nervous breakdowns, all too pleasurable to be real. But reality unwinds around those elaborate reigns of sonic sensation, and all you know is the sweet, sweet groundwork of the Greening.
Really?